Hey and welcome to Tabletop Gaming. My name is Charlie and today I'm going to talk to you about escape room games. Now there is nothing more fun than going to an escape room. You have an hour in a room to solve the puzzles and to get out. Hopefully, very much hopefully. It depends how many hints you need, but the moral victory of getting out before your friends if you're in two groups, nothing like it. Nothing like it. Except when you don't want to have to go to one of these and you want to spend some time at home with your friends, or you can't get booked in, or do you know what? You just like the puzzles. Well, there's a list of escape room games just for you and it's coming right up. So, without further ado, Number one is Exit the Game. Now, you've probably seen these places. There are many of them by now. You can find them in your friendly local game stores, but also they'll crop up in escape room places. They'll also crop up in places like Lidl's and Aldi of all things. And ultimately, they're the masters of puzzles. Everything you need is in there, but you may have to break things to do so. There's a legacy style element to it. It might be that you have to tear up a card or you have to bend it in a certain way to be able to play the game. Now, not everybody loves that. That does make things a little bit more tricky, but one thing to especially keep an eye out for with these guys is they also do an advent calendar, and that advent calendar is a puzzle every single day leading up to December 25th. It is not only great fun if you like that style of game, but it gives you this sheer satisfaction every day of having solved something and had a little bit of gaming time too. Number 2 is Unlock. I personally tend to find Unlock titles a little bit easier than Exit titles, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are. It's just the way our brains work. We're always going to vibe more with specific type of puzzles depending on our preferences and experiences. But Unlock, much like Exit, cover a lot of different topics, a lot of different themes. They have, as Exit do, kid-friendly versions, family-friendly versions, but they're slightly less likely to have you sort of chopping up cards and doing things like that. You're more just going to be playing through the game. The only thing with it is that it will be using an app to keep you honest, I guess, but not everybody likes that kind of vibe. They want to get away from screens. You don't necessarily want that in your game. If that's the case, go for Exit. If not, Unlock is as good as any. Next up is Escape Room the Game. This is very classic. This is a big timer counting down in a fairly big box for you to be able to try and escape from. It is Escape Room in a game. But it sort of taps into that fun element. If you get something wrong, not only do you lose time as you would in the previous two, but you also get an ominous beep at you that something's really wrong. It's just a really fun way of doing so, and arguably our reviewers have always found that the second one is more exciting than the first. So if you're between the two, try the second one first. Number 3 is Deckscape, and Deckscape kind of proves that you don't need lots of things going on in order to be able to play a good escape room game, because it just gives you a series of cards. As you go through, you unravel your mystery, you'll find out what's happening, and much like the others, there are plenty of options and flavours available for you to play. It's a little more choose your own path versions, which I actually really like. I love the choose your own path sort of style of games that we have in many of their formats, and this one has been popular in the office previously. Number 5 is a Scooby-Doo game. If you're going to be going for mysteries, Scooby-Doo is where it's at. This one is a Coded Chronicles game. Now, we had some debate as to whether this classifies as an escape room in a box, but we do believe that it does. You're solving mysteries to come to the end. You're going to attempt to do so in a reasonable amount of time. It has a lot of the fun elements of it. It's also obviously Scooby-Doo themed, kid-friendly. It's a good, interesting one, but the beauty of it is that it comes with so many different components. You're going to be opening envelopes and flicking through things to try and find out what it is that you've ascertained. It's very clever. Now, they do Coded Chronicles on a couple of things, but Scooby-Doo has my heart. Amusingly, this one also runs on how many Scooby snacks you've consumed, which is just really fun. Next up, we're back at Unlock, but bear with me because it is a different one. These are Unlock shorts. Now, they come in tiny little packaging, and they are just a few sets of cards, enough for a quick mystery game, but with enough depth to keep you involved. So, you can quite easily keep these in your bag, wait for the moments when it arises and go, hey, we need a palate cleanser, we need to get this game played before dinner's served in that amount of time. Great, let's grab this out and play. So yes, it follows the same vibe as both Exit and Unlock kind of do, but in a smaller format, a little bit more pocket friendly, and a good way to spend a certain amount of time. Next up is Escape the Room. The one on this list in particular is Mystery at Stargazer's Manor. Now, this is more classic again. We're opening things, we're investigating things, we've got more physicality than the card options that we're offered in the previous entries that I've mentioned. So if the idea of what Scooby-Doo was offering gave you sort of like the, yeah, that's my vibe, I want to be like physically doing something, this is a really good option. And ultimately, this one follows the story of strange things happening at an astronomer's manor. I mean, he's gone missing since the death of his wife, but there's strange things going on in the house. What are you gonna find? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna be able to escape? Let's find out. Number 8, I couldn't resist giving it an entry of its own. It is the Exit Advent Calendar, so I mentioned it earlier. Now, the reason it's got its own space is because I do think, although they count down to the 25th, you don't necessarily need to play them at Christmas time, and there are plenty of them now. I think there's either 3 or 4 available for you, and you could just grab those of an evening and try and play through. They admittedly are more one use, exactly the same as I said before. It might be that you're breaking cards, or you're breaking the box, or something along those lines. But for the amount they cost to be able to play through, even if you could do an advent calendar leading up to your birthday. It doesn't need to be Christmas. These are not limited. They're not just for Christmas. They're for life, or for a month of time. It's something worth considering. And I think it's a really good way to get the escape room vibe in something smaller. Next up is Unfold. Now, Unfold adventures are really, really good fun. They are basically escape room style, where as you solve something, you then unfold to the next page. Now, they are in tiny little compact compartments, and it means that you think that all you're going to get is narrative, right? But it will be like the cards, like as you unfold it, it'll say something. But they also include things. Now, I don't want to ruin what you get inside, because obviously that's part for you to uncover. But it's more than you'd expect, and you might be asked to identify the smell of something from what's in there. You might be asked to create almost an origami creation. These things are all included within it, when you would think that it is just a bit of folded card. It just gives you more depth than what you expect. Now, the ones that I've played have been adult themed. There's a review on the website, so you can go check those out in full as to what I thought of them, and which of them was my favourite of the 2 that we played. But I think are well worth keeping in a bag, keeping ready for an evening to be able to go, hey, let's play this one. And equally, they're not easy. You're really gonna have to think about what you're doing, and that's the same with most of these. I am not great at escape room games. Things like this, I tend to go over time, or I tend to mess up because my brain just doesn't work that way. But you're in for a really fun ride along the way, and that's something that Unfold particularly allows. Last up is Amelia's Secret, which turns your house into an escape room. It utilises augmented reality, so when you're heading to go and find something that happens to be in the sink, it might be that you're pointing your camera at it and something ominous is in the sink, because it will augment reality to the experience that you have in front of you. It's a little more adult. You're gonna have to think sort of like almost horror story-esque. It's all cartoonish, it's not too realistic, but it is something that I would imagine would upset a younger audience. So not one for the kids, but certainly one to include in a game night, to include having everybody round. Although, make sure you tidy up your rooms, because people are gonna be everywhere. So there you have it. There are 10 escape room games. The list was originally written quite some time ago. I've updated it a little, but it originally appeared in Tabletop Gaming magazine, and I've mentioned that a couple of times now, so you should absolutely go and check that out. The links for that will be in the description. I want to hear your favourite escape room games, but I want to hear your favourite escape room experiences, so put those in the comments and I will be excited to read them. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.